Hey guys, this isn't going to be one of my usual videos. My name is John Crump. I am the GOA State Director for Virginia and also Inland Writer Extraordinaire. I wanted to make a video because today is a very important day for me. Today is the day that I proposed to my wife 9 years ago. I wanted to tell a story about how I met her and how we got together. It was April of 2010. I was watching the Washington Capitals, and during the intermission, they were showing commercials. One of the commercials was from eHarmony, and they did a thing called a Free Connect Weekend where you can meet people for free, whatnot. And I was like, I have nothing else to lose. I'm not really seeing anyone right now, so let me go ahead and try it and see what happens. I wasn't one for online dating, and I never dated people from like eHarmony or Match.com, but something in me told me to try it out. Over that month, I met a couple people. One girl said if I ever lied to her, she would kill me, but that was basically the end of that. But one of the people I met was Miriam, my wife. She was serving as a ER doctor in Korea at Osan for the U.S. Air Force. So she wasn't going to be back in the area until June. But I was like, I talked to her. It was like, there's one picture of her in this hoodie. I looked at it and I was just like, I gotta meet this girl. I don't know what it was about that picture, but it just drew me to her. It was just a picture from my airport. She's sitting in there in a gray hoodie. I can still see the picture in my mind. So I went ahead and I started talking to her. And right away, we had this chemistry. It's hard to explain, but it was a feeling I've never felt before. And it's someone I've never met. So we started talking. We started talking through Skype. First it was emails, then it was Skype. I was getting laid off because my department in Verizon was relocating to Ohio. So we had about 6 months where we did nothing because the department already relocated, and we just sat there and did nothing just in case they had to roll it back. So I talked to her on Skype for hours every day because she was working the night shift in Korea at the ER. So we would talk and talk and talk, and over the months, I just kind of fell in love. It was May when I went up there to meet her for the first time. I took my nephew Jesse in case she was a psychopath killer and she lied to me, but it wasn't that. So we walked around New York and we hung out at Central Park and everything. It was great. I'm really familiar with New York because I stayed there for months at a time when I worked for Verizon, so I knew my way around New York. More than her, which was kind of surprising since she's from New York, but whatever. And that weekend, I just I knew I was in love with her, but I was like, man, how can I be in love with someone that I hardly know? But I was. On the way back from New York on the bus ride, we only went up there for one day. I talked to her all the way back to Virginia on the bus, and I just knew I wanted to be with her. So we started like having a relationship from that point. She came back, and I guess it was around September, or oh no, actually no, it was August. She came back, and we started hanging out. I mean, everything was going good. There was a lot of chemistry. We went on this like dinner cruise and stuff like that. I was in love with her. She was unsure at that point. Um, and then I went up to New York with her for Labor Day weekend. And actually, she was probably going to dump me at that point. She wasn't going to dump me at that point. And she took me to a place called Port Jeff to dump me. Funny thing was that all of a sudden, she just fell in love with me, which was unexpected for her. And definitely unexpected for me. I didn't know how close I was to being dumped, to tell you the truth. But it was just something happened that day. I can't explain it. Just bam, fireworks, everything that you see in the movies, blah blah blah. That happened, which was unusual, but it did happen. So we got together, and I just decided I want to spend the rest of my life with this woman. I really, really do. So what happened was we went back to Virginia, and the next weekend I was like, I gotta go buy a ring because I'm not letting this woman out of my life. I'm like, I'm not gonna screw this up. No way, no how. I'm not screwing this up. So I went and bought a ring, and I wasn't sure how I was gonna propose. In fact, I was gonna propose at Great Falls, Virginia, which is a national park in Virginia, right outside DC. But she's like, you know what? This would be a perfect place to propose to someone. Are you gonna do it or something like that? And I was like, no. So scratch that idea. Then we went to this thing down at the National Mall where the Washington Monument is, Capitol, all that. So I was like, this is the perfect place. She's like, are you gonna propose to me here? And I was like, God darn it. I was like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Scratch that. So I was like, I gotta propose to her in a way that she's never gonna guess. We were gonna do this big family thing where it's like a pumpkin patch type thing with a hayride. Uh, so we arranged it on the hayride. But before that, let me get the night before I proposed, I was so freaking nervous. I went out and bought when I get nervous, I buy stuff. I went out and bought a Kindle just because I was so nervous. And all night she was like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I was just I have anxiety disorder, so at this point I was like off the freaking charts. So the next morning I wake up, stayed at her house in Alexandria, because I live in Ashburn. She lives in Alexandria, a little bit of a distance, and I was so nervous and my head was killing me. I think because of anxiety. And she's like, "We don't have to go." And I'm like, "Yeah, we do. You definitely do have to go." So we get there, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm just, fidgeting, walking around, pace. I fidget and pace when I get nervous. So I'm getting nervous right now talking about it. So we get on the hayride and we go, and we arranged it for the guy to stop in the middle of the hayride, stand up, and say, if anybody wants to say anything, now is the time to do it or whatnot. So he did that. I stand up, and I'm like, Miriam, can you stand up? And she goes, why? I'm like, just please stand up. She's like, why do you want me to stand up? I'm like, please just stand up. She's like, all right. So then I got down on one knee and I proposed to her, and she said yes. Everyone cheered, and we went back. And over the next year, we planned our wedding, which was really hard. But that day, my life changed forever. The 5 happiest days of my life is my wedding, when my son Matthew was born, when my son Nicky was born, uh, when she said yes to me, and when the Caps won the Stanley Cup. I had to throw the Caps in there because, hey, go Caps. So she took a chance on me. She's way out of my league. She's incredibly smart. I mean, she's a doctor, so of course she's incredibly smart. Um, she's the sweetest person I know. She's the most loyal person I know, the most dedicated person I know, the hardest worker I know. Basically, the best person all around that I've ever met in my life. And she is with me, which to this day I still not sure why, but I'll take it because it's one of those things where you don't second guess something that's so good that comes into your life, and I'm not going to do that ever. I love her deeply, and Miriam, if you're watching this, which I'm sure you will, just know that I love you and I'll be there for you forever. And thank you for everything that you do. You're the sweetest person I've ever met in my life, and I am glad that I get to spend my life with you. All right, that's about it. That's all I have about that. Not a regular video, but something I want millions of people to see. I doubt millions of people are going to see it. Probably like two, me and her. If anybody else want to share this video because just remember, everything that we do for love. All right, this is John signing off. See ya.